Hello, my Nabla order has finally arrived. I'd like to share with you the shades I picked that are actually the ones that I selected in my previous video. I explained in that video the reasons why I selected those shades. I'd like to share with you swatches and comparisons with my previous Nabla eyeshadows and also with other brands like McGrath, also other indie brands. We have Adept Cosmetics and Clionadh. So stay tuned for that. So let's unbox this order. Let's hope that everything has arrived pristine. So this is the Celestial. I picked 3 Celestial shades, 1 Magichrome, that is the multi-chrome, and 4 mattes. So I will compose the palette. So this is my matte palette, and by the way, I turned on the air conditioning. I hope it doesn't bother you. It's too hot. This is the first quad. And this is the special quad. So you can't go wrong with these. The magnets align so that the Nabla stays at the bottom in both palettes. So you cannot place them in other directions. First consideration is that the pen size has shrinked. This is actually the same size of, let's say, a MAC pen. For example, these are depotted Pat McGrath and they have the same size. It's not so easy to open one side and keep the 2 palettes attached to each other. Anyway, I have to get used to that. Just to show you the size comparison. So this is the new size of a Pat McGrath. They are identical. And this is old Nabla. They are bigger. So they have shrunk the size. Glam Shop or Color Pop. I mean the singles by Color Pop. Sydney Grace, so they are all compatible, all the same size. Now I would like to share with you comparisons of this new Celestial shades with the old Celestial. This is Myrrh, the new version of Water Dream, of the old Nabla Water Dream, and this is Cannabis and is the Celestial version of Alchemy. I don't have the original shades, unfortunately. So what I can do is just compare the formula. So I will let you know my first impressions. So at the touch, I have to say they are creamier now than before. The old Celestial shades are a tad grittier. So this is the old Celestial shade in shade Selfish, that has not been proposed again in the new formulation, and this is Cannabis, the new one, Cannabis. Yeah, it's pink leaning, maybe too pink for my liking. It's multidimensional and shinier, I have to say, compared to the old Celestial shade. This is a great shade. Let's compare it to Pat McGrath. I can compare it to the Mothership one, this one, and this is the shade that seems closer to me. So it's a special shade, so-called special shade, baked shade. They are quite close, honestly. The Pat McGrath one has a shift to pink that is more prominent compared to the Nabla one. Moreover, it has a sheer base while Nabla one has more pigmented base. They look identical, to be honest, so yeah, I will report back once I use this shade. Maybe tomorrow we'll try this shade on one eye and this shade by Pat on the other eye. You know how much I'm picky with the textures, and Pat for me has unbeatable textures, especially for aged skin. So I would like to compare the textures of the two ones, of these two shades on my eyes and report back. Color wise, the Nabla one is more bluish compared to the Pat McGrath, but the comparison is spot on. So I have to say, the new Celestial version based on these swatches is shinier than the old Celestial one, and it is comparable to the baked shades by Pat McGrath. Let's make it more meaningful by comparing this shade that is another indie brand, JD Glow Good Gold from the Galaxy collection. So these shades are grittier, but again they are amazing in pigmentation and shine. This is another indie brand, American brand. I much prefer this type of texture by Pat McGrath. This is shinier, but also emphasize more the lines. So it's more straight, metallic and shiny. So right now they're just comparisons based on swatches, but I can tell you something more about these shades because of course I use them over time. Now let's compare the other ones. Let's see this pink shade that is Litchi. Oh, this is very nice, very elegant. Is more of a warm pink, I'd say. I would compare this to, again, a special texture by Pat McGrath. This is my Bridgerton II, and this one is a baked shade in a pink color. Well, they're different, and I like this tone. This is more orange, yellow looking. This is cooler compared to the Pat McGrath one. The Pat McGrath one is shinier in this case, while for this shade, the Pat McGrath one and the Nabla one were practically the same. So this Cannabis is a must-have, as I expected actually. Even from the promo pictures, it was the shiniest, while this one is less shiny, but nonetheless I like it. I like it a lot. So let's proceed further with another Celestial shade by Nabla, and this is Myrrh. I can feel more binder in it. Is a sandy color, like sandy warm, but yeah, it has a whiter pearl compared to this Litchi one, and yeah, it is whitish in reflection compared to the other ones, the Nabla one and the Pat McGrath. What I can compare it with, let me think about something from Pat, like this one. This is the Mothership Divine Rose, so number 7. This is a great shade, but it would be much glittery, much more glittery and shiny, but I think this is the comparison I would like to do. So this is Divine Rose number 1, and yeah, maybe it's not fair, but I'll do it. I think it is meaningful. The Pat McGrath one is just the glitter, just the shine without a base, while the Nabla one is very shiny. I'd say almost like the Pat McGrath, a tad less shiny than Pat, but with this pinky sand base. I would say I'm very happy with these celestial shades. So this is the star of the show and is Cannabis by Nabla. This is Litchi by Nabla, and this is Myrrh by Nabla. All of these, 1, 2, and 3, are celestial, the finish celestial. Now it's a time for the multichrome. Okay. Oh wow, this is very high quality. You see how much it shifts. I have some experience with multichromes. I was one of the first customers of Clionadh. I purchased my first ones in 2019, and I can say that the first Clionadh ones were not so shifty like this. You can see the shift, right? I'm happy with this choice, honestly. I decluttered the Clionadh one that was similar to this, and I think the closest is Ray. I like the pearl that is very fine. It has a finer texture compared to celestial. My gosh, this is nice. I want another one. I think it's a sophisticated way to wear multichromes. You see how much it shifts. This is just natural lightning, and you can see how it shifts from yellow, green, orange, pink, magenta pink, and cooler pink. And I like the texture. So let me compare it to a few multichromes that I still have. One is this Clionadh shade. This is the cheaper one, is called Chromatic. First of all, the texture here is chunkier, more powdery compared to this Nabla one that is thinner. See the difference? This gathers into my lines, while this is thinner. So I think this is more advanced. Is finely milled, more finely milled. And this is the Clionadh, and you will see that, yeah, is thicker, and it's a quality that I don't like so much. And the shift is more subtle. Green, yellow, orange. I built up this one, but it doesn't have that thickness of the Clionadh. So I prefer this texture by Nabla. And another comparison is with the Terra Moon's Phoenix. This is more opaque, is another concept, is thicker. Let me put it here. My other Clionadh are nothing alike. The Terra Moon is more impactful, but the texture is also thicker. So Pat McGrath in Divine Rose 1 has this shade that is very thin, is a baked shade, and has this pink shift. I would like to compare this one. And yeah, this is very close in texture to this one. It has the same shift. The Pat McGrath maybe is a tad muted, and it doesn't have the multichrome quality of the Nabla. This is just a duochrome, so it disappears and it gives that magenta shift. This is the Mothership number 3, and there are two pink shades. This that is very glittery, and this one magenta pink that flips to gold. So these are other two Pat McGrath ones. This magenta by Pat McGrath is cooler in tone, more purplish compared to this Nabla multichrome. I'd say that these are more glittery, while the Nabla is closer in texture to this highlighter by Pat McGrath. These two are closer. The comparison is more meaningful compared to these ones. The pink is very prominent in this shift. That is the only con I have to say, but I love the texture, as I mentioned multiple times. So let's switch to the mattes. In my previous video, I justified my choices. Let's see. So this is Bergamot. Okay. Texturally, I'd say these are not as silky smooth as the old Nabla mattes. I mean the soft matte finish. I have two of them to show you. This one that I showed you before was called Lotus, and this one was from the Feather collection and is white truffle. These were very silky smooth, and by touching this I can recognize the talc-free mattes I've recently seen in Dior, for example. It lacks that silkiness that unfortunately formulas with talc give you. So this is the color. Is even more muted in real life compared to what I'm seeing from the video. I think it's easy to blend, also maybe because of the color. Is there, but is not very boom pigmented like I expected to be. Just to make a comparison, this was very pigmented. See, I can feel the binder is less silky than the old ones. Yeah, but the color is very nice. I don't think I own such a bright neon yellow green. And then we have this. It has the same texture. And I will put it here so you will see the difference compared to Lotus. Yeah, I have the same feeling that I explained you when I talked about the Dior talc-free formula. That experience of a denser eyeshadow. I don't have the silky effect of the old formula by Nabla. Let's try these ones. So this one, this feels more silky. Let me compare it to white truffle. Maybe it's the same. I should have thought about that because this is called white truffle, this one, and this is mushroom, and honestly these are dupes. This is white truffle. Unfortunately, yeah, it's the same, and as you can see the old formulation is smoother than the new one. I'm disappointed because I own already this one. So these are dupes, guys. If you own white truffle, do not buy mushroom because they are identical. Finally, we have this one that is Ambra Grigia, bluish gray. Even more pigmented than I wanted, let's say. Yeah, maybe I should have skipped these two and picked something else. Let me compare it to Viseart. This is my favorite matte formula, and this is the second palette I purchased. I finished one and purchased another one. This shade seems close enough. They are identical, my gosh. Okay, if you own this palette by Viseart, this shade is Ambra Grigia. Let me also compare to this indie brand that's more affordable. This is Blend Bunny, by the way. This one seems close as well. Let me put it here. Oops. It's a bluish and lighter. So this is the comparison. Yeah, the conclusion is that I'm very happy with the special textures, the celestial ones. I'm happy with the Magichrome by Nabla, but yeah, I could have skipped the mattes, to be honest, because I own already these ones, and yeah, these are nothing revolutionary. Nice, but meh. I would go for these special textures. Stay tuned for updates about comparison Pat McGrath versus Nabla. What do you think about this release? Have you picked something by Nabla? Are you happy with your choices? See you in my next video. Bye bye.